live here with my friend, Mr. Aldo de la Cruz, straight from Omaha, Nebraska, by way of Mexico City, Mexico, right?
Let's go,
What's up,
baby.
Aldo?
All around the world, man. And some
Sat-
and some more.
yep, Saturday Night Live, and it's Father's Day Eve. Father's Day Eve. So finally, the guys are getting a little attention. The women get all the good holidays. You know what I mean? So it's good that the fathers get something. You know.
Yeah, man. But that doesn't mean we're not appreciated though. You know?
You hope not. You hope not. Yeah, But shout out to all the dads out there that are doing the right thing. Trying to set the example and taking care of their kids. It's one thing to just have a kid, with somebody, but to be a real father and like really, be an example, be a role model for a kid, be in the kid's life. Like that's what it's all about right there. You know what I mean? Because that you have a kid and none of this bullshit. Oh, once they're 18, they're on their own. They're an adult. Fuck that. You have a kid. You're with that kid till your last breath. You know what I mean? That kid's your responsibility. You do everything you can for that kid as long as you can. So shout out to all the fathers that are doing that. All you deadbeats.
Go fuck yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Go fuck
thanks.
yourself, man.
Yeah, I was trying to think of the right words for the deadbeats, and I think that's just it in a nutshell right there. So what's up, Aldo? Did you do a workout today? What's going on?
I did, man. I did, man. Thank you so much for having me over, man. Yeah, man. You know what I was doing today? I was doing some kettlebell work.
Uh-huh.
I own a kettlebell that's 30 pounds. 30 or 35, I think. Now we got me thinking twice. But I don't use it as much. If I use it, I do kettle swings. But
Mm-hmm.
you know how the internet is, man. They be hitting us up with things that we thought about, and
Yeah,
somehow it
yeah.
appears on your fucking screen, right? So then a video of somebody doing some kettlebell appeared on my shit, and I was like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna do that tomorrow. So I
Jump on the
looked up
kettle.
a
Yeah.
couple moves. Yeah. YouTube University. Shout out to YouTube. Hey
Yeah.
Frankie, God bless you. God bless you. And and then I saw this woman doing this set where she goes in a swing, comes up here like a clean, and then
Mm-hmm.
squat, and then she does this weird shit, which in my mind I'm like, oh, that's a good one for not only flexibility but balance, right? I
Mm-hmm.
always think on my workouts to balance, you know. That's a thing I work on because how important it is when you get older. I'm living a
Yep.
100 and past, man. I'm trying to hit
Yep.
that 100. Okay. So we're doing amazing, Zach. Thank you for being
What's
here.
up, Zach? All good, brother. Thanks for popping in. Appreciate
Yes,
you being
sir.
here.
Yes, sir. And then I was like, I'm gonna do that today. So that's what I did today, man. I did a dumbbell work for the balance for when we get older, so we stay stronger. And that was it, man. So lower back. How about you? What do you do today?
Yeah. Nothing today. Nothing today. What's up, Roy? How you doing? Thanks for popping in, brother. No, man, I was actually doing some yard work today, and I didn't get my workout in. But again, I'm going to shoot for tonight, hopefully. If not,
Mm.
we're going to make it early tomorrow morning. But I had a good one yesterday. I told you, I've been looking to get back on that with the bench pressing. So we did that yesterday, and I got a really good bench press workout in, and then I took that right into some weighted dips with the kettlebell.
Okay.
I strapped on a kettlebell, and we did 100 reps of weighted dips. So it was all good. So, and again, today was mostly yard work, but hopefully we'll get something in a little bit.
Man, you be on that
Game Bros
nail
Gusto.
lighter, man. You be
Game
on that
Bros
late
Gusto.
nighter. Shout out to my
Yeah,
bro. Oh man, yeah, no, I mean, I can't do it, man. I can't do them late nighters because then I can't sleep well. Then you must be
yeah.
going to sleep late. Last night you go to sleep late.
I did last night. I did, yeah. Last night I did very late, much later than I normally do. But I back in the day when I was still working, I worked crazy shifts. I worked all around the clock and stuff. I was working out at 2 o'clock in the morning, 7 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. There was no rhyme or reason to what I did. Now, you know, probably mostly now afternoon, early evenings. But I as much as I love it, I have to push myself to do it more. Is getting it, doing like a nice early morning workout because we always say it
Mm.
sets the tone for the day. You know what I mean? It always sets the tone for the day. Um,
Yes, sir.
I
Yes, sir.
feel much better when I do that. You know.
I hear you. You
So
ever talking about that? You ever heard about kind of that's kind of like a sleeping pattern, right? That you don't really have that because of your work. How you say, yeah, that you used to do different shifts and stuff, so you kind of train yourself to rest whenever you command to rest, right?
yeah,
Right? And you know, man, this a few months ago. I ran into an article about different styles of sleeping, and there's actually like some of the geniuses in our history, man. Some of them like will sleep throughout the day. Now, like, oh, I stay up for 12 hours and not go to sleep for 8, but they will do like increments throughout the day. Like, if they feel tired, I forget what the style of sleeping is, but they'll feel tired. They just fucking lay down. I think Newton used to do that. I think he's one of them. That then he just fucking sit down and take an hour and then come back. So whenever they feel like sleeping, you
right,
know what I'm saying?
right,
Instead of
yeah.
sleeping, and they say that shit works good. I don't know if you ever heard about that.
I well, no, I've never heard of people doing that. But to be honest with you, for a lot of years, that's how I live my life. It really is because I worked. You know, I used to work. I would go to work, and then I always had a second job, and then I would grab an overtime shift. So it was really was just kind of sleep. Sleep. There was a lot of days where I would sleep 3 and 4 hours, then go to work, and then you know, I'm going to work another shift, but I have like 2 hours in between shifts. So I'll sleep for an hour and a half, then jump in the shower and go back to work. So I did that a lot, broken sleep throughout the years. I didn't think, I didn't like doing it because you just don't feel good. You're just running all the time. Now, when you have the benefit of youth on your hands and you could do that, you can get away with it to a larger degree. But as I got older, it was just like, it really starts taking its toll on you. I felt that it did. You know what I mean? And I don't think it's good for your health at all in the long run. But and again, and what I wanted to talk about tonight was a little bit about weight loss. And
Hmm.
if you have, that's one of the points I wanted to bring up, that a good sleep pattern has a lot to do. Um, Thanks, Thief. You like that hat, Aldo? Where'd you get that hat? Tell Thief where you got that hat, man.
Yo, thief! This is a mailman hat, baby. Look at that,
Yeah, go
man.
get
That's
one,
a
Thief. You could probably
yeah,
find
thief.
one on Amazon, right? You could probably get one on Amazon.
It's a fucking hard hat, man. But you know how bitches start about beanie because you not be at the park, man, and I be sometimes I fucking wake up with the crazy idea of doing 1,000 something, and I'll be out there for a long ass time, man. So I was like, "Oh, I need something that really protects me. You know what I mean, for the sun,
Yeah,
at least
yeah,
in my eyes, man, because I don't like wearing shades.
yeah, yeah. I was never one to wear the shades either.
Mm-mm,
Yeah,
mm-mm, mm-mm. I
yeah,
found out that I'm blocking some stimulus to my cells because through my iris, the shit goes into my cells, man. I heard this and I was like, oh my god, I've been fucking up all these years because I used to be the one that wakes up, man. Fucking guy, I was cool, man. I was cool. Had my logs on, man. I felt so cool, beanie all day. I walk around like this, man, and till I found out, I said, "Fuck no, I need to," something
yeah,
about it, like starts the engine on your cells.
yeah, 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 yeah,
You know
yeah,
what I'm saying? And ever
yeah.
since then, I don't do that. So I gotta do this, something like this, because sometimes the sun, hits you on the eye. So
Yeah, I got
and
you.
that's the
That
reason
makes
of the
sense.
hat, guys. There you go. You
Makes
know my secret. Don't tell nobody. But it's fucking cool, man. I like it. I really enjoy it. I enjoy running with this thing, man.
You run with that too, yeah?
Mm.
Wow. All right. So there you go, Thief. There you go. Now you know Aldo's secret with the postman hat, with the mailman hat.
Yeah, this is the mailman hat. It's not Mexican. Mexican hats are different, bro. I have one too. I have one too. Man, I have this custom hat, man. I'm gonna have to put it on one of these days. I gotta dress up though. That's my dressing up hat, man. And it's not a fedora, but it's a hat, man. It's a super cool hat, man. I love it. It took me a long time to be able to acquire. But that was a goal of mine, so I just said I'm gonna save $10 here, $10 there until I got the amount, you know.
All right.
Yes, sir.
What's up,
Straight
old
old school.
school? How you doing, brother? So yeah, getting back to the point, I wanted to talk a little bit about weight loss tonight because, obviously we talk about it pretty often about what's going on with the everybody being overweight, everybody being obese, and it really is a pandemic. You know what I mean? So I just wanted to go over a couple of points. When I talk to people about weight loss, I tell them it's in theory it's simple, but it's the execution of it that becomes really really difficult for almost everybody, for a
Mm-hmm.
large majority of people. So we just touched on one, which is sleep patterns, because when you don't have proper sleep patterns, and this is one of the points that people just kind of can't grasp this concept that not sleeping right, having bad sleep patterns, you only sleep 3 4 5 hours a night, you get broken sleep. It really does, part what your hormones play a large part in your body weight, in maintaining your body weight, lose when it comes to losing body weight, and when it comes to gaining weight. So um, that really throws your a lot of your hormones out of whack when you're not sleeping right. So it really does play a big part in it, and people have to realize that's it's a big stress on your body if you're not sleeping right. You know what I mean? So again, your cortisol is raised, and again, all the hormones are going to be a lot of the hormones are going to be out of whack. It's going to be very difficult to lose weight. Another thing too is what I don't like people to use is the term diet when they say, "Oh, I'm going on a diet." You know what I mean? Because that has that when people say I'm on a diet, they always have an end sight, right? They're looking at, I just have to do it for this long, lose the weight, and then I can go back to the way I was living, to my normal way. You know what I mean? I'm going to do this. I'm going to, whether it's, and most people resort to some type of starvation diet because you're told by the mainstream that all you have to do is eat less food. Basically, a calorie is a calorie. It doesn't matter what you eat, but if you just eat less of it, you're going to lose weight. And to some degree, there is a little bit of truth in that, but there's much more to it. You know what I'm saying? So when people say, yeah, I'm on a diet, they're white knuckled and throughout the day. I already ate my calories. I can't eat anymore, and it's just miserable. So you don't want to be on a diet. You want to find a way to eat that's sustainable every day, where you're not going to say I'm on a diet. Like, this is the way I live and this is the way I eat. You know what I mean? And hopefully it's going to be a relatively healthy way of eating. And today, with all the processed food and the junk food, we're just bombarded with it. We're always going to slip. There's always going to be that birthday party. There's always going to be the Christmas party. You're going to go out. You're going to have pizza. You're going to have a couple of beers. You're going to, on occasion, once in a while, that's fine, if you're doing the right thing the majority of the time. That those couple of days where you slip up, it's not gonna, it's not gonna throw you off track. What's up, Hasana? Thanks for popping in. So yeah, that's one of the big ones. This whole thing, people have to get out of their mind that I'm going on a diet. What they have to do like a mind shift and say it's not a diet. It's a way of eating. I'm gonna change my way and start incorporating the good foods, the better foods, the whole foods into my diet on a consistent basis, right? And I know we talked back in the day. You had some issues with the colitis, right?
Oh man.
And a lot of it was because the way you ate, and but you didn't go on a special diet to cure the colitis and then go back to what you were doing, right? You changed
Mm-hmm.
the way you ate
Mm-hmm.
and made it a relatively healthy way of eating for the most
Mm-hmm.
part, but you
Mm-hmm.
still have your days where you go have your pizza or your burger or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
And,
Sometimes two burgers.
and well, there you go, right? But
Fuck.
again, in the grand scheme, when you do that,
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't throw you off track. You just get up the next day and you go back to what you were doing. No harm, no foul, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
in the long
Mm-hmm.
term, it's really not going to hurt you over time, But it's the people that constantly live with the booze, with the processed food, just throwing the junk in their body, and then they decide I'm going to go on a diet for 4 weeks or six, whatever it is, right? And then you might lose that 10, 15, 20 pounds, and then right away you think, okay, it's over. The weight's gone. I'm back. And that weight comes back and then some as soon as you get back to what you were doing, right?
Yeah, man. Man,
I
we should put a stop on approaching this. It's a fucking problem, man. Definitely, obesity is a problem. We gotta stop approaching it. I think like that, and maybe this mind shift can help more, right? And I learned this a long time ago, man. Um, the power of identity, right? Change your identity. Your identity, like who do you think you are? You know, when you are like that. Because I used to be skinny, so then I always used to because you kind of just vanity. I don't know. You know, I was always kind of uh thinking about that. You know, "Ah, I'm too
Mhm.
skinny. I'm too skinny," and I will always think of me like that. But then till one day I said, you know what? I want to gain a little bit muscle. I want to be I want to be ripped. I started thinking like that with that mentality of my change who I think I am,
Right.
and that has helped me. It's helped me so much because when I think like that, I make my better choices on the food. Like you say, yeah, I'm not fucking perfect. I don't think I
Right.
ever will be, you know. But when I think like that, I think of like me, literally, man. This might sound ridiculous to somebody, but I see myself, you know, like cut and shit, you know,
Hmm.
sometimes,
Right.
and I
Right.
think like that. I gotta eat to get to that, which is a constant fucking battle because I don't know
Always.
if I ever reached there where I like kind of think of myself, right?
Yeah.
But that little a mind shift. I think it changes because yeah, when you think of a diet, we think of diets as a temporary thing, right?
Right.
But
Hmm.
instead of and then okay, well yeah, I'm done with this diet, a 30-day, 60-day diet, whatever. How different programs work, but I think changing that mentality, man. I think it helps me turn. I remember the first time when I started thinking like that. I was dumb. I didn't know. I was doing it with a game winners, right? I was just loading myself with calories, and I reached a goal that I had, but it was an unhealthy goal. You know
Right.
how I approached it because I was ignorant, but that's how I was seeing myself like that. I was seeing myself like that, and I still do, man. Because I sometimes I look, but see, like the goal changed now. It have changed throughout the years. Right, the
Hmm.
goal is different now. The goal is about here, and then I'm cut a little bit.
Yeah.
you know.
Well, yeah, you're absolutely right. And if you want to get into that whole thing about how we manifest what we keep telling ourselves, like if you kept telling yourself, "I'm a skinny guy, I'm a skinny guy," right? And we're to the point now where people are told, and a lot of people believe this, that if they're overweight or obese, they honestly believe, because it's drilled into their head from the mainstream medical establishment, that it's because of your genetics. So
Man,
a lot of people will go through life saying, I'm just a fat guy.
bad
That's the
bone,
way I was
a big
born.
bone, big
Yeah,
bone.
I'm big boned, or that's the way I was born. um
And see, man, see those things. It's crazy how this shit works, Vinny. That's why I'm saying we need to change that mentality of thinking of diets and instead of thinking of you as a different person, as the person that you wanna be, man.
right.
Or wanna
Yeah.
become. Because I'm sure that this could be a lifelong fucking try to chase it
Yeah.
for
Well,
everything, man.
yeah, and that's just it. You have to look at yourself. Stop taking what they tell you. When I say they, I mean, the doctors, the mainstream establishment, and this whole thing that is genetics. You have to look at yourself and say, what do I want to look like? What do I want to be? What I want to do with my health. I want to fix my health. And that's going to be your goal. And you have to take these certain steps. And one of the ones I tell, what I really advocate to people, and it's hard for a lot of people, is to track your food for a certain time. I certainly don't tell people that you should track food for the rest of your life, because that's not a sustainable way to live. But
Mm.
when you track, say, so one of the most popular apps now is My Fitness Pal.
Oh yeah, I
So
heard
I
about
tell
that. I
people,
told you my yeah, yeah.
yeah, right. So and there's a couple of reasons to do that. Number one, because you obviously, to some degree, it is always going to be, you know, a calorie count. So if you're eating more calories than your body needs, you're going to gain weight.
Hmm.
If you're eating about what your body needs, you're kind of going to maintain your weight. And if you eat fewer calories, it's, in that sense, it's simple math. You're going to lose weight if you're eating less. But how do you know that unless you actually track it and know what you're doing? So if you use an app like this, you track your food. What do you eat? Protein is in that food, how much fat is in that food, and how much carbohydrate is in that food. When you do that, that's going to help you learn what these foods are, because most people have no clue. If I say to somebody, uh, you know, like a lot of people will say, just for instance, what's a good source of protein? And a lot of people will say, well, beans. You could eat
Hmm.
beans because there's a lot of protein. There is some protein in beans, that's true, but there's 3 times more carbohydrate in those beans. So if your goal, again, you have to eat for your goals. Are you looking, in your case, at one point you were looking to put on weight,
Hmm.
right? Some people are just saying, I want to maintain my weight. The vast majority of people say, I want to lose weight. So you have to eat for your goal. So if your goal is to lose weight, you certainly don't want to be eating foods that have a 3-to-1 carb to protein ratio. When you're looking to lose weight, you have to prioritize protein. You have to make protein the bulk of your diet,
Hmm.
right? And how are you going to know that unless you track it? Because in this case, they always say, knowledge and power, and it certainly is when it comes to weight loss. Because if you don't know what you're putting in your mouth, you don't know how much you're putting, and people just they'll just pick something like, I'm just going to eat a salad because I don't think that has a lot of calories. You know what I mean? The goal at that point is to lose body fat, right? Lose weight. 99% of the time, we want to lose body fat. But when you do drop body weight, a lot of it will be body fat, but you're always still going to lose some lean body mass. You are going to break down some muscle to some degree. And how do you avoid that, or how do you minimize that? And that's by making sure you take in sufficient protein, right? So what I usually suggest is, let's say you're a 200-pound guy and your ideal body weight is 175, right? You would want to get between, say, like 150 and 175 grams of protein per day, right? And because that would help you to minimize that lean body mass loss and help maximize the fat loss. You know what I mean? So I don't think it's something that people should do, or I don't think you have to do it for the rest of your life. But I think people should put in the time. I think people should put in the time and track the food and learn the food, and then you could live the rest of your life pretty much eating intuitively. You kind of know what you're putting in your
Hmm.
mouth. You know what I mean? You know what compromises most of the foods. You know what I mean? And that's one thing but it's very hard to get people to do that. It's really hard to get people to do that, because a lot of people are just put off by it. Well, I just have to eat. I shouldn't have to weigh everything. If that's going to be your mindset, if that's going to be, your train of thought, then good luck trying to lose weight. You're making it
Hmm.
way more difficult. It would be so much easier to take the time to track the food and learn the food and lose the weight than spin your wheels, just throwing shit against the wall, hoping something sticks and you lose weight, because it's probably not going to
Hmm.
happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
yeah. People have it harder to lose weight, man. That's a hard fucking task, man. I was skinny and it was not easy to gain a little bit of weight, but losing weight, I think it's a lot harder, man. Because um, I agree with what you're saying though. Train yourself to understand how much food you need, and then go from that.
yeah, Yeah, and it's so eye opening when you do it. Um, when you really start learning about the food and what's in the food, because then you start saying, "Wow, I didn't realize that had so much. I didn't know that that food had so much sugar in it, or I didn't know that.
Mm.
I thought there was a lot of protein in that, and there really isn't. You know what I'm saying?
How do you
Um,
do it? Do you go? Is the app tells you that? Does it gives you like the nutritional facts or of
yeah, when
because
you
I heard of it many times. In fact, my mother-in-law has used it and she's lost a ton of fucking weight, so it does work. So
yeah
that's just true, guys. All dog is speaking facts because I heard a testimony like that. But does that app also tells you if you say like oh fucking I mean 3 eggs, toast, and some fucking hash browns or whatever? Does that tell you?
yeah when you put it in other words, let's say you sit down to eat and you have you're going to have chicken and potatoes and a sweet potato and then maybe some vegetables or
Mm,
something. You would weigh the chicken. Okay, I have 10 ounces of chicken breast. You know what I mean? And it's going to tell you how much protein is in that chicken breast, how many calories are in that chicken breast. That sweet potato, let's say you had a sweet potato, you put in, okay, I have a 10-ounce sweet potato, right?
mm.
It's going to say, okay, sweet potato has this many calories, this much
Oh
fiber.
no,
It tells you everything
okay,
about
okay.
each food. Yeah,
Oh, that's good. Oh, it
stuff
does.
like that.
Damn,
But
that's good.
yeah, but I don't even think you have to dive that deep with it. I just use it as a counter to know how much protein I'm getting in and how many calories I'm getting in. People they get overwhelmed with all the other information, which you really don't need. You're basically just using it instead of using a pen and paper. You're just going to use that as a counter. You know what I'm saying? And you're going to look at that number to meet those numbers every day, and it makes it much easier. So
I see, I see. Let me turn my internet. There you go. Wow, yeah, that's good, man. That's good because you know what? I've been wondering about cause I've been making this bread, man. I've been making that bread, that sourdough, guys, that natural shit. But I'm really wondering what is the nutrients on it because I've been sometimes I ain't gonna lie. Sometimes I have two slices, man. I'm like, damn, I feel fucking guilty. I'm like, damn, I ate a lot of bread now, and I wanna know. I wanna know. So I'm gonna have to check that out and put it in there. See if it gives me a
well,
nutritional content.
I could tell you right now. See, bread. The wheat today when they make flour, like white flour, is
Mm.
really no there's really no nutritional value in white flour
But the fiber.
because there's really no fiber in it either, because what they do is
Mm.
when they take the wheat to make the white flour, they
Mm.
completely strip away the germ and any nutrients, really, they strip away and just leave the carbohydrate part of the wheat.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Mm.
So that's why, that's one of the worst things about the bread, um, because it fills you up so much, and it's addicting in a sense because it is a carb. You know what I mean? And people load up on the bread, but there's really no nutritional value to the bread, and even any store bought bread. If you
Oh
look at
shit.
all of the ingredients, like you go to the store and look at a loaf of whole wheat bread, the ingredient list will be like this big. You know what I'm
There's a
saying?
Bible in there, man. There's a whole
Yeah, I'm
Bible in
telling
there.
you.
That shit, it blows my mind, man, when I see shit like that. I'm up for the least ingredients I see on something. That's what I go for. Because you have a couple options, and not really every option that is good for you is expensive either. I think that's a
No,
misconception to talk about there too, because there's a lot of things that are better that have less things and they're less pricey and stuff. So,
yeah.
but I always
Well,
look for that, man. The least, the best.
that's one of the other things too that I wanted to mention, because people do talk about the price, right? And with
Hmm.
inflation at all, today things are out of hand. But what I tell people all the time is, if you eat at home and you go shopping and do food prep, which many people are not willing to do because everybody likes to eat out, they go to the fast food restaurants. When you add
Hmm.
those bills up, but then they'll complain, and people will just automatically come out with that one talking point. Well, it's expensive to eat healthy. It's really not, because
Mm,
what's the
mm,
alternative? What what's the price of your health? Because you're destroying your health if you don't. But you can really
mm.
do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you base your diet on around whole foods, around meat, some
Hmm.
potatoes, some vegetables, some fruits. If you buy that stuff in bulk and make it at home, no way. It's way more cost effective to do it that way.
It
You know what I mean?
is, man. It is. Yeah, yeah. I have a couple of recipes that are simple, man, and yeah, they're pretty cheap. Like a big one that I make often, man, is chicken thighs. I fucking love me some chicken thighs. I like the skin ones too. They like the with the skin, but whatever. I
Hmm.
do both, and then I have a little small oven because I don't have a microwave at home. So we use
Right.
this oven to. It's basically or heat reheating, device. But in this oven, man, I do a chicken and I do frozen veggies. That's like my go-to because it's something that I can live on there cooking. And if I have to do something, whatever, it's a really easy one. Yeah, because people it's complicated, man. But I'm gonna tell you guys, it's in the fucking seasoning. That's what
Yeah, exactly.
that's what it is.
Exactly.
It's on the fucking seasoning because some people say it's monotone, it's not tasty, but that's in the fucking seasoning, man. Because I make some fucking delicious chicken thighs and veggies,
Yeah.
easy and fucking tasty, man. But that's because of the seasoning. I load it up, man.
Exactly. That's just it too. You could take whole foods, meats and vegetables, whatever, and bring them home and cook them up in bulk because it makes it much simpler, and season them up. And you could eat so. I mean, come on. I mean, people say, "Oh, it's boring to eat that way. The food doesn't taste good." You have to take the time and learn. You can do it.
Mm-hmm.
You can definitely do it. You know.
Yeah, I want to share something though, man. Because you talk about prepping, I tried that before, and it didn't work out for me, man. Because I don't always eat like 3 times a day, right? Sometimes I eat 2 times, sometimes I eat 1 time, and I was wasting a lot of food, man. That's why I started doing the chicken thigh like that
Right.
because I was wasting a lot of food, man. Because I wouldn't eat it, If I let's say think of a week, and I was thinking I'm gonna have 3 meals out, a day, blah blah blah, and then, but then there was days I only had 2 meals or 1 meal, and then it was like just stacking on top of each other, man, and I was throwing a
Right.
lot of food away. So that's when I started doing the. Just I was thinking like something quick that's tasty, and that's when I came up with that chicken thigh, man. And then it gets crusty on the outside
Yeah.
on the a little oven, man. That should bring the brand so people know the, the fucking brand. That fucking oven, man. I love that little thing. It's beat up, man. I got it for Father's Day, I think, a few years ago. And that thing, man, I'm telling you, because I cook different things like that. I do pork sometimes like that, I do a burger sometimes. A burger, I just give it a little shape, not like a burger, but like a steak, and then just season it real good. And man, that's a great meal right there too. Put some onion
Yeah.
on it.
Yeah.
Man, I'm getting hungry.
So see, but it can be done, right? You could
Can
do
be
it.
done. It's easy.
You can make good food that's still healthy for you, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
And it's
mm-hmm.
it's not going to break the bank. It's not going to break the bank. And when you look at what it costs you, say, to go to McDonald's and get a Big Mac meal, which is
That's about 15.
fucking
15.
poison, you're probably paying 12, $15, right? For
And who
stuff
knows
like
where
that.
you at? Who knows where you at? But
Oh,
where I'm
forget
at,
it.
I think it's about 15 for that. And shit, sometimes, although there really is a lot of recipes that are simple. Tuna, right? I get this tuna that's in olive oil, and
Hmm.
sometimes it's like that, man. Sometimes you gotta have something quick and have it be good. Tuna and fucking get a can of veggies, which canned veggies, I'm in like you know borderline. I'm like they're good. I'm like fuck, I don't know, man.
Yeah,
They gotta
but
be
yeah, but
medium good.
here's the thing. I always say,
Uh huh.
right? We do the
Mm.
best we can with what we have where we are. In the grand scheme, right? I would rather do those canned vegetables than
The
go
no
to
veggies.
McDonald's or go to Burger King or
Oh
anything
fuck
like that,
yeah, fuck
right?
yeah,
So
fuck yeah.
now, and the same thing with fruits and vegetables. In a perfect
Mm-hmm.
world, you want to get organic when you can to minimize these
Mm.
pesticides and whatnot. But if you
Mm.
can't, you have to work with what you have.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
all of that. all of that is still going to be, you'll still be 1,000 times healthier than you would
Mhm.
with a constant diet of ultra processed foods, which really isn't
Mhm.
food, fake food, and the fast food and things like that. You know what I mean? So I get it. Like, everybody, I would want to have a grass fed steak every night, with an organic sweet potato and, organic
Fucking
salad
Wagyu,
and all
Wahoo,
that shit.
Wahoo. What the fuck they call that? A Wagyu beef. The one that they give it a fucking massage and they give a
Oh yeah, the
fucking
wagyu.
beer. Yeah, they give a fucking beer, man. So that meat is more like fucking marble, nice and
Yeah.
fatty. That's my favorite, man. I love beef fat. I love it.
Yeah, so that's the other thing. It doesn't come down to a matter of uh, just like with the tracking. If you put the time in and learn it, it's going to become much simpler. When people talk about, well, it's too expensive to eat,
Mm,
healthy food. It's not. If you do your due diligence, if you make your meals center around whole foods, and you have to do the work. You have to be prepared.
mm-hmm.
Prepare the food, right? Even if you do it like you said, if the food backs up because you don't get to it. So do it every
Yeah.
3 days. Take an
Mm-hmm.
hour or two and do it every 3 days, every 4 days, whatever. You know, I'll make some meat and things that will last a week in the fridge.
You
You know
keep
what I'm saying?
you do that. You prep it like that.
Yeah,
Do you prep it like in
I'll make
containers, or do you just do like a big portion, or how do you do
I'll just
big
I'll just
portion?
do one big portion to make because I'm eating at home. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
If people that are on the go, but if the people that are on the go, obviously you have to divvy it up. If you're going to take it to work to lunch every day, take it to work and have it to eat, on the go. But I make it and I store it in one big container here, and then as I eat it at home, I just weigh it out or whatever. But really, I don't weigh it anymore. I kind of know how much I'm going to eat of it. You
Yeah,
know what
you
I'm saying?
train yourself that
But it's
good.
all ready to go.
That's what you're talking about right now. That's what you're saying
Yeah,
right here. That now that's what you do. You already know, like just by looking.
right.
Yeah. Okay. So see guys right there. That's it right there. What he's talking about, he already does. Yeah. It just fucking make it a habit, man.
Yeah,
I'm not the
yeah,
best eater, man. I'm not gonna lie. I guess I've been lucky to have a metabolism that's like this. But I'm not the best eater, man. I don't think I ever consider myself that. There's been times in my life that I'm like so strict, but this lately, man, no. I be hitting out those pizzas, here and there. But
yeah,
definitely always conscious though. Definitely, man. Definitely.
yeah.
If
But
definitely always like, oh shit, I already ate like that. I'm gonna take it easy right now.
well, that's just it. You balance it. Like,
Hmm. Hmm.
okay, hey, listen, I went off the rails and
Hmm.
that pizza's good. That pizza tastes good, but it's not doing me any good, right? So you'll do it, but you'll bounce back and you'll say, okay,
Hmm.
I'm gonna get strict for a few days to balance
Hmm.
things out. So it's gonna
Hmm.
work, like I said, in the long run. If
Yeah, I
you
feel
have
great.
those occasional days where you go and do that, in the grand scheme, it's not gonna hurt you, right? So
Yeah, man.
I think we got behind in the chat here.
Okay. Shout out to everyone in here, man. God bless you, man. It's Saturday.
Shout out
Wishing
to
everybody an
Frankie,
amazing Saturday, man.
Game Bros Gusto.
Frankie. Frankie's a big blessing, man. Shout out to Frankie.
Frankie's everywhere.
Hmm.
Sean G's in the house, podcast with Soul. Shout out to Sean G. What's up, brother? Oh, he's
Chris
on live
Cable,
too.
man.
He's on live too. Got old school in the house. Let's hit McDonald's. Yeah, as soon as I get off, I'm hitting McDonald's.
Man, I you know what I hate? Oh my, I fucking hit the coffee at McDonald's. 125 or some shit like that. 175 now. Thank you, Biden. 175 right now.
Oh,
it used to
McDonald's
be. It used to,
used to be $1 a cup.
yeah,
Used to be a
yeah,
dollar
yeah.
a cup.
That shit I do get, man. I'm not gonna lie about that. I'll be driving through and say, I'm gonna get a coffee real quick.
Yeah, but you don't do black coffee, right? What are you putting it?
Nah, man, I get the creamer. I get the creamer
Okay,
and
all
one
right.
sugar. I do the sugar, man. See, like I'm
Oh,
telling you, I'm not the perfect dude. But you know what, Beanie? I'm gonna tell you what. that's right now at this stage of my life, right? Because I'm always trying to be a listener of my body, right?
Right.
I'm trying to listen to my body, and who knows, maybe later on, as I age, maybe that's what I'm gonna need then to be stronger then, right? Because at this time, right now, with how I live, I don't feel like it affects me, right? Like I said, yeah, I'm always
Right.
conscious. I live more good
Hmm.
than bad, but I think at this age, it's not affecting me as much. But I'm always being aware, right?
Right.
But I'm not the best, man.
Um, well, and you work out often, and you do take, for the most part, you do eat healthy, and that's
Hmm.
the other thing I want to talk about. How people try and use exercise as a way to control their weight. So now, for instance, a lot of people in your case, well, you went out and let's say
Yeah.
a bunch of cardio,
Mm.
and it's gonna balance, and it's not. You know what I
Mm-mm.
mean? That's the other thing. People think that, and that just goes to show you how strong the food addiction is with people, and how ingrained it is in there, the way people eat, how hard it is for them to change that. They would rather go and get on a treadmill for an hour or two, thinking that they're gonna negate that cheesecake or wipe out that pizza and all the other shit that they did. And it's never going to work. It's never going to work, right? Because if you're putting the right stuff in your body, that exercise is always just going to be a supplement to the other healthy things that you're doing. It's not
Mm-hmm.
the exercise isn't a way to erase all the bad shit,
Mm-mm.
right? Because
No,
I
it's a
don't care how many
compliment, man.
push-ups. If you're putting that shit in your body, you're destroying your body from the inside out, and you're
Mm-hmm.
not going to fix it from the outside in doing push-ups. You know what
Mm-mm.
I'm saying?
Mm-mm.
Um, and obviously, if you're doing all that, if you're doing the push-ups, the pull-ups, if you're weightlifting and all that other stuff, obviously you're doing that for one reason, because you want to build muscle, and it's very healthy to age and have muscle on your body. It's one of the healthiest things you could do, is have a good amount of muscle mass as you age. Um, but if you're not fueling your body the right way, you're not going to build that muscle. But people will put that shit in their body and then think it's okay if I go to Planet Fitness, jump on that treadmill, and that pizza's
Work
just going
out
to
for
get
two
washed
years.
away.
Work
It'll
out
be
for
like,
2 fucking years and look the same. What the fuck is wrong with you, man? My God, 2 years in the gym. They're still looking the same, man. And it's not that they're not working hard.
well,
It's just that I think it comes to that, man. It comes to the foundation. That's the found. It really is, man. It took me a long time to understand that shit. I'm gonna be honest with you. It is the foundation. What you put in your mouth is the foundation, man. It is.
but,
It's crazy.
without a doubt, and there's no
Mm-hmm.
disputing that. You know what I mean?
No.
And but people will hope against hope that that's not true.
Mm-mm.
They'll hope that they could get away with it, that I could still put, and you still hear people all the time say, I could eat whatever I want. And I don't, no, you can't. No, you can't. And just because you might not gain the weight immediately, you might still have that benefit of youth on your hands. You might have a faster metabolism, whatever. And just because you don't show it on the outside doesn't mean that stuff isn't doing damage on the inside. And at some point it's gonna come out. You're gonna start getting the sickness. You're gonna get the insulin resistance, the diabetes, the high blood pressure. All that stuff is gonna come in time. You know what I mean? Just because you're 30 years old and you think, I could eat and drink all I want, whatever I want, and I'm not really gaining weight. At some point, it's going to catch up with you. You know what I mean? But people don't. They really don't want to believe that. They think that the exercise, and as you go into any gym, right? There's a lot of people in there. Like, you see a lot of guys, a lot of women that are overweight, and they might be strong. They might have strength, and they're lifting weights, but they don't look good. They're
It don't
carrying all that
show.
excess weight. You know what I mean?
It
And
don't
it's not
show.
healthy. It's not healthy to have all that obviously we all have some level of body fat on us, and that's gonna vary person to person. But if you're carrying 30, 40, 50, 100 pounds of excess body fat, that's not good. That's not good on your organs. It's not good for the for longevity. It's not good for your joints. You know what I mean? It's not a way to live. It's not. We shouldn't be doing that. So
No, man. You know what I just recently heard, man. How can we? Because somebody was talking about that's the food is like I can do all everything else but the food. And they were saying, how can an object have so much power on somebody? It's like that's some weak shit. Like how can this food is an object, man? How can that? I think that's why fasting is good, because fasting you kind of take control, you know, because fasting is hard, man. Fasting is not an easy task.
Today, that's the other thing. That was one of the other points I wanted to bring up about fasting. If fasting could be a 24-hour fast, a 48-hour fast. Our friend Bro Derek, he does
Oh,
3 days.
man.
You know what I mean? He's done 7 days. I remember he told me one time. So you have those extended fasts.
Yeah.
And then you talk about today, a big thing is like intermittent fasting.
Hear me, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Where people only
Uh-huh.
do it for, X amount of hours a day. You know what I mean? But really, that's the way we should be living anyway, because most people eat from the minute they wake up in the morning until they go to bed at night, and they
Man,
never
I'm
give their
that
body a
sometimes,
rest.
Vinny. I'm that
They,
sometimes. There's times that I do that shit, man.
yeah, and most people are doing it, and the problem is
Mm.
they're doing it with all junk food, all processed food, all fast food, all
Man.
snacks, candy, cakes,
Mm.
cookies, all throughout the day. It's like they're grazing. So when I say they're eating throughout the
Mm.
day, well, no, I only had 2 or 3 meals. Yeah, but what are you doing in between that? You're constantly throwing stuff into your mouth throughout the day, and it's not necessary. And that's where all those excess calories are coming from. And people say, but
Yeah.
I really don't eat that much. But when you add it up, when you really look at what people are eating, I think the average person is eating well over 3,000 calories a day. You know,
Mm.
and you could sustain yourself. Most of us could sustain ourselves easily on. Again, it's going to vary person to person, but not many people need more than 2,000 a guy, even if you're working out. Not many guys need more than 2,000, 2,500 calories, depending on what your goal is. If you're looking to bulk, if you really are looking to bulk up, if you're a really thin guy with a high metabolism, you are obviously going to need much more than that. But just day to day, because most of us are sedentary anyway, so very few people would need more than like 2,000 calories, and most people are eating upwards of 3,000 calories a day
And not moving, yeah. But you do
and
need the
not moving.
protein, though. You do need the protein.
Yeah, yeah. Protein is always going to be king. Like I said, when
Mm-hmm.
just in general, you always want to have sufficient protein, but especially when you're trying to build up, when you're trying to gain muscle mass, and then when you're trying to lose weight, because your body actually it takes more energy for you. The more protein you eat, it takes more energy for your body to digest that protein. So you're actually burning more calories to
Oh,
digest
wow.
protein.
I
You
never
know what I
heard
mean?
that.
Yeah.
I never heard that. That's cool. No shit.
So you definitely want to, and again, and that we go back to the whole tracking thing. Most people don't know what the ideal proteins are, because you want to get a complete protein. And really, vegan stuff aside, when you talk about complete proteins, it's almost always going to be the animal proteins, the fish, the eggs, the meat, the yogurt and stuff like that. Well, that's always going to be complete proteins. You know what I mean? So, um, and again, you get into the vegan stuff, you're looking at like soy, that might be a
Mm.
complete protein. But other than that, most of the plant proteins are not complete proteins. They don't have the whole amino acid profile. So you kind of have to mix and match with the vegan stuff. So it gets a little crazier. But again, if you're inclined to be a vegan, or follow any other type of eating pattern, if you're tracking, you're going to know exactly how much you're getting, and that's the best way to do it. If you just do it by chance or you guess, it's never going to work. You know what I mean? And you're going
No.
to be deficient.
No.
You're going to be deficient. So, um, and the other thing too is, a lot of people, when they get into this, when they want to lose weight, they become obsessed with that number on the scale. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of people will
Mm-hmm.
will weigh themselves every day.
Mm-hmm.
And when you get on that roller coaster, you're going to drive yourself crazy. You're going to drive yourself crazy because your weight is going to your weight fluctuates by a couple, 3, or maybe even 4 pounds every day, depending on what you ate, how much fluid you drank, how much salt was in your diet that day. Is your body retaining water? So it could really. And then when you talk about women when they have their cycle, I mean, I had a woman one time after her cycle lost 7 pounds in a
Mm.
few days. It was all fluid retention. So if you weigh yourself every day, you're going to drive yourself out of your skull, like out of your mind. So you can't obsess with it. And then the other thing I tell people too is you have to take pictures of yourself, say every 30 days, and compare. Because a lot of people will do that. They'll say, "Oh no, I looked in the mirror and it looks like my stomach's coming down. My stomach wasn't this big last week." Well, you don't know that. You can't tell looking at yourself every day in the mirror. But if you take a picture on day 1 and then on day 30 and day 60 and you put those pictures together, then you're really going to tell. I mean, the scale does tell the tale because you want that over time, that downward trend. But if you weigh in today at 200 and then tomorrow you weigh in at 202, you didn't gain 2 pounds of fat overnight. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Are you regular going to the bathroom? You know what I mean? But a lot of people get plugged up and they don't go to the bathroom for a few days. So that's going to
And
make
that's
the
why.
number go up. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
why I had that fucking problem. I know what that feels like, man. I had that problem. But also, I have a piece for that, Vinny, and I think it's an important one, man. I also, man, heavy doesn't mean you're not looking good, right? Because sometimes if you think like, oh, I'm gonna be light, I'm gonna look better, but sometimes uh um some weight looks good for some people, right? You know, do you get what I'm saying?
You can take two.
Mm-hmm.
Can absolutely take.
Mm-hmm.
Again, that goes back to my point about the car, going to, and people think they can get on the treadmill and just burn calories. You know what I mean? And you do that. And a lot of people, especially women, when they look at resistance training, well, I don't want to get bulky. And it's so important to do that and
You
have
look better.
sufficient protein. Right, right.
Mm-hmm.
But again, the thing is, even if you take it a little too far, like if you buy an old car, and you're going to do that car over, well, what do? You don't pull the seats out, put in brand new seats, and then do work piecemeal. You strip that son of a bitch down to the bare bones, to the frame, and then you
Mm-hmm.
build it back up. So you want to
Mm-hmm.
take that same mentality with your body. If you're overweight and out of shape, your number one goal, because that's the other thing, people muddy the waters with, I want to lose fat and gain muscle at the same time. Well, you're 100 pounds overweight. Let's do one thing at a time. Let's learn how to lose the weight. Then when you lose the weight, then we'll build you back up. You know what I'm saying? But
Mm-hmm.
people, they get all excited, and that's a recipe for disaster and a recipe for failure because you get frustrated. And then
Yeah,
when
man.
people are start losing weight, and then when they plateau, they'll fall back and they'll say, "Well, it's because I gained muscle." Well, you didn't gain 10 pounds of muscle in a month. It takes years to put a few pounds of muscle on in a lot for some people. You can do it, but everybody's different. And again, it's going to be your training schedule, what type of training you're doing, what your diet looks like. So my point is, you got to just, even if you go down too far and you say, like to your point, well, sometimes you won't look as good, right? And you'll know that, and you'll say, you know what, I want to get bigger. So now you change your macros, you change the way you eat to more of a maintenance or a little bit of a surplus. You get into the resistance training, whether it's body weight training or weight training, and you start building your body back up and you'll look better.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because I think that, man. Sometimes a certain number is doesn't mean that number is gonna look good on you. That's what I was trying to say. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes people get a mentality, like I used to think, man, I wanted to be at least 175, right? Which I guess sometimes people think that I've weighed way more than what I look,
Hmm.
right? But and then I feel great, man. I feel amazing. I feel handsome, you know. And but that's a weight that I didn't think it would be, you know.
Right.
So it took me the process to be there, you know, to understand it. But yeah,
Yeah.
a number it doesn't mean like a number. It doesn't mean that that number is gonna make you look good, and
No.
it's for different for every type of because there's all types of bodies. Some guys
Exactly.
look really good, slim. Some guys, they look that are a little bulkier. So I think
Exactly.
what I get out of that mentality, kind of the same thing with the scale.
Yeah.
Obsessing about the scale, man.
Yeah. You're exactly right. You're exactly right with that. You don't know, and when I work with people, and for instance, I'm working with a guy now who started out at 190, let's say 200. He was just about 200 pounds. So when I started working with him, I said, "Well, what are you looking to do?" And he said, I want to get down to like 175. I think my ideal weight is going to be like 175." Well, he's 160, and he still has more to go. You know what
Hmm.
I'm saying? So you don't know. People don't know. I worked with a girl one time who was 280 pounds. And this is what a warped sense of body, these body image, the way people think about what a good weight is, because now it's accepted for people to be so heavy. But I was working with a girl one time who was 280 pounds, and
Mm.
she was maybe like 5'5" or 5'6". I said, "What do you think your ideal body weight would look like?" And she said, "Oh, probably about 200 pounds." No woman should be walking around really at 200 pounds. I don't care what,
No, that's
you know what
heavy.
I mean? But in her mind, she thought 200 pounds, and I said, no, you really are. And again, I'm guesstimating because I don't know how it's going to go, but I'm thinking in my mind, like, you're probably 160 pound, maybe 150 pounds, your ideal
Oh,
weight would be.
that's no shit.
So she had about 130 pounds to lose, give or take. Again, you don't know, depending on the amount of exercise she was going. It was all excess body fat. Um, it wasn't like she was big boned, like they say. You know what I mean?
Oh man, that's a stupid ass
But
shit
then
to say.
people, yeah, and then people run into the thing when you're that obese for that long, and you have that much excess body fat, especially if you lose that weight quickly, like with some drastic diet or with these bullshit medications that they're doing now, the Ozempic and all, and you do lose the weight the wrong way and you lose it quickly, you're going to have serious, serious issues with excess body skin. That's going to be, you know, um, and then people run into actually having surgeries to get the excess skin removed, so
Oh
it can get
man, that's a
really
whole
ugly.
crazy
You
shit.
know what I
Yeah,
mean?
that's crazy.
Yeah,
That's crazy. Hey,
yeah.
look at this, man. There's a strengthened old school over here. He's asking, when was the last time you picked out on a cheat meal and what was it? And then Game Bro said 1962 for all dog and 62 minutes ago for me.
No, well,
Man.
I pizza's my thing, old school. If I go off the
Oh
rails,
man.
it's always going to be pizza. And I normally, honest to God, if I do, I don't go for a slice or two. I usually finish off the whole pie. And
Oh
it wasn't
man.
that long ago that I did that. So, and to be honest with you, I
Uh-huh.
love pizza, but when I do it, I just go completely off the rails with it, and I pay for it the next day because I don't feel good. I mean, it's delicious going down. I'm not bullshitting anybody. I love it. You know what I mean? I'll sit and eat it, but I just don't. I don't feel good the next day because I load up with the spices. You know what I mean? The salt, the pepper,
Mm.
anything. I'm throwing all sorts of shit on there. Um,
Extra cheese,
oh,
the
anything and
Parmesan,
everything. Oh, anything and
Romano.
everything.
Oh man.
And yeah, and I just don't feel good after it. But pizza's my thing.
Man.
Couple of three
Chicken nuggets.
cheeseburgers, sour sauce, a large Coke. You know what I mean?
Man.
So
Yeah.
that was always my go-to. But now, these days it's pizza when I do it, and it's usually not pretty when I do it. So I don't do it too often.
Oh man, shit, man. I've kind of been good. I kind of been good. I'm not gonna lie. I had a like 6 eggs this morning with some avocado. I had a toast with them. So I don't really count my bread like that, man. I make the bread, guys. Only three ingredients.
Yeah.
And I make that shit. I fucking got the mother that's natural, that's giving me probiotics. But so that then I made a mushroom soup. I was at my friend's farm and he gave me some mushrooms, man. Oh my god, red wine mushroom soup. Woohoo!
Wow.
I be
Good
chefing, man.
stuff.
I be chefing. Oh my god. And I
There you
almost,
go.
but see, like I almost ate it with bread, but I didn't. I said no. I ate bread already.
Well, that's the other thing. Yeah, the bread always goes with the soup. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
no,
Because you got
man.
to get full. Because you got to get full, and that bread will fill you. That bread will definitely fill you up. But that sourdough bread that you make, I'm not really against that. Anything that you buy in a supermarket, like I said, is just total shit. I wouldn't. I, I wouldn't eat it. I wouldn't eat it. But you were making, and we've had this discussion about the sourdough bread. I know you make it, and I've had some sourdough bread that I got my daughter got from a farmer's market, and a woman sells it at the farmer's market, and then she'll make it to order. If you want to buy it from her, she'll make it at home. And it's like you; it's only the three or four ingredients,
Mm-hmm.
and it's good. It's delicious bread. I don't eat it
Mm-hmm.
every day. You know what I mean? I'll have a couple of slices again with my eggs or something.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I don't go crazy with it. You know. But again, you go into these restaurants, and the first thing they do is they bring you over that basket of bread.
That white bread, man. I'm scared of
You know.
that. I was be talking shit to my son because he be eating it, and I'm like, son, don't eat it, or don't have too much of it. I'm always like, yeah, have one, two, but don't 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 load on that.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's hard not to. They bring out that
Hmm.
bread, and if it's a good piece of bread, they put it in the oven and they give you that butter with it. I mean, come on, man. You're gonna go for it. It's
Man,
it's temptation, and that's the other thing too.
it,
Is when I say to people what we were talking about earlier before, if your goal really is to lose weight, and it's hard, but
it's a battle.
you got to stay out of these restaurants unless you own that
Yeah.
fucking restaurant. Unless you own
Hmm.
that restaurant, you're going to go there at night and empty out the cash register. So you got to stay out of these restaurants. You have to.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
have
At
to
least till
train
you
yourself.
yeah, at least till you get your habit together. Once you get the habit, like you already because there after a while, man, it becomes a habit. Once you get that, I think you're all right. You can be around temptation like that. Like I put myself in this, man. I remember I did this one challenge to myself while fasting, man. I was fasting and I got invited to a party, and I usually wouldn't go, right? Like a restaurant dinner, and I usually would not go, Beanie, because that's if I was fasting, I'm like, fuck, I'm a, or whatever gathering, whatever, I won't go because I know there'll be something in there that I wanna eat. I'm like, I'd rather not, but that day I made my challenge myself to go and be around, be able to hang out, and not be so tempted by the food. And that was
Right.
a good experience, man. That's the same. This the same with people that have problems with drinking, and then like uh I can't be around the alcohol. Yeah, for a while, but then after a while, you should be able to control it. Be around and not feel so attached to that fucking thing, because that's a
Yeah.
weakness, man. To be,
Right.
food, fucking alcohol, that's a weakness.
It's a big weakness, and
Mm-hmm.
they say you have to, even with any type of addiction. One of the first things they tell you is you have to change your surroundings.
Yeah.
Like if you're trying to beat an alcohol addiction or a drug addiction, right? You're not going to go to the bar every night after work. Like, why would
Mm-hmm.
you do that and just stand there
Mm-hmm.
and watch everybody else drink? It's not gonna
Mm-hmm.
last.
Mm-hmm.
But and some people might have to go their whole lives and stay out of situations
Yeah,
like that.
some
But like
people
you
have.
said,
Yeah.
some people can. Like I knew, I can think of one guy off the top of my head that, I mean, he had a real bad problem with alcohol when he was younger. He had a bad accident, but anyway, he got sober, and later on, um, he as far as I know, he hasn't gone back to alcohol yet. But I was around him a lot of times, and he would be at the bar, or we would be at a holiday party, or we would go out to dinner, and everybody would be drinking, and he would sit there and have his club soda, or once in a while he would get one of those fake beers, the
Mm-hmm.
O'Douls, or
Brew
you know what I
beer.
mean? What is it? The,
Root beer or no?
no, they sell
Or
like
the
those. It's beer, but it has
non-alcoholic?
no not the
Uh,
non-alcoholic beers. You know what I'm
but they have
saying?
the flavor.
Yeah, exactly. And he would,
That's fucking
and
disgusting. I don't know how people like.
well, I think that's tempting fate. I kind of think that's tempting fate too, doing that. But I mean, like I said, to my knowledge, he never fell off the wagon. But
Go for it.
uh, I would, I think that's sort of reinforcing that addiction by you're still drinking it, you're still getting that taste. So your mind, but maybe if that's what kept him sober and it worked for him, who am I to, I can't criticize that. But
That's
when it
right.
comes to the food, food, the alcoholism rate is much lower. It's bad, but it's much, much, much lower than the obesity rate.
Mm,
Food addiction is real, and food addiction is
mm,
fucking strong. And food addiction is just as strong as a heroin addiction.
mm.
So if you're trying to beat a food addiction, if you're this person and you can't put yourself in those situations, you can't go into um, fast food restaurants. You have to say no for a while anyway to holiday party. You have to build self-discipline. You
Yeah.
have to build habit.
Hmm.
And you're not going to do it by constantly, you're just making it way more difficult for yourself by putting yourself in those positions. Again, if you're trying to break an alcohol addiction and every day after work you go to the bar with the guys and they're drinking and you're going to go, no, 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 I'm not drinking anymore. Well, why would you do that? You know what I mean? Or if you have some type of drug addiction, you're going to go to these parties with these people that are getting high and doing drugs, and you're going to sit there and say, no, no, I don't get high anymore.
Mm.
You can't
Mm.
put yourself in those positions.
It takes
You
a
have to
while.
build, if you ever do it, it's got to be after you did really worked on yourself and built that
Hmm.
self-discipline and really like built the new habits, replaced it with some, and that's the key too. Those habits, that addiction is always in the back of your mind. It's always lurking, ready to jump out again. So you really have to replace it. And you'll see that with a lot of people. Even I know guys that were alcoholics that got sober, and all the time they spent drinking and being drunk, they had to replace it with something that time. And these guys would be like, one guy was out kayaking every day, but whatever
Oh,
it
that's
takes.
cool.
You know
Hmm.
what I'm saying? But you
Hmm.
have to find something to fill that time because that idle time is just going to send you right back. Because if you have
Hmm.
nothing to do and you're that bored, you at some point you're going to say, "Well, fuck it," and you're going to
Let's
be
have
more
one.
inclined. You're going to be more inclined to just slip back. You know. Frankie says, "I can't speak from a gentleman's perspective, but from a woman's perspective, what is shown in media on average as healthy really no, it's not healthy at all. Yeah, they're perpetuating this whole fat acceptance and they're beating it into everybody's mind that to be unhealthy is okay. And there's nothing wrong with, you know, I'm not saying ostracize people or criticize people in a negative way, but why is it a bad thing to tell people that it's not good to be obese and unhealthy? Why is that bad? That's you see how the whole narrative is twisted? They're trying to
Hmm.
make us think that it's okay to be unhealthy. It's normal to be overweight. They're normalizing the abnormal. You know what I mean?
Mm-mm.
So,
Mm-mm.
Mr.
No,
Pink said
hell.
you can't outrun a donut. That's true.
Hunter and gatherers, man. That's what we are.
Right. Yeah, to your point, Frank. Exactly. They're showing everything. They have everything reversed. It's hard for natural. Gusto, I lost you there. It's hard for natural, organic, unprocessed to make. Well, yeah, it is. Yeah, exactly. But Gusto, the thing is, it can be done. It can be done. For the people are too complacent, and again, a lot of it comes down to just ignorance because people really are taught that what they're eating is the right way to eat. That there's nothing wrong with it. You know what I mean? But people really have to educate themselves, and I'll go back to one of the first points I make about tracking your food and learning the food, learning the makeup of food. But it takes effort, just like everything. If you want to reap a benefit, you have to put the effort in, and most people aren't willing to put the effort in to learn. Yeah, I didn't know they had Heinekens, but yeah, this guy used to drink the one that was called O'Doul's. I think that's the I think that one was made by Budweiser. But again, if you're trying to kick an alcohol habit and you're walking around with a fake beer in your hand, I think you're reinforcing that habit and you're reinforcing that addiction. So I think you would be better served to stay away from that, and not really tempt yourself. I think we lost Aldo.
No, I'm
I
right
think
here.
Aldo ran out on us.
Oh damn. Yeah, I'm right here. You can hear me?
Oh yeah, we could hear you. We can't see you though.
Oh yeah, I'm paused. Look at that face I got going on there. I had a call, that's why. It must have frozen on there.
Okay. All right, let's see if we get Aldo back here. Technical difficulties on the Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, so I see myself pausing there. Is that how you guys hear me?
I don't know what everybody else could see. I'm seeing a blank screen.
Oh man, I see myself. I had a call. Sorry guys. You still can't get me on there? No,
No.
huh? Oh man. I'm sorry guys. Blank screen. Blank screen over there on Frankie's side too. I don't know what to do, Vinny. You want me to come out? Or do you want to cut it off?
All right. I think we talked enough. I think they're tired of listening to us anyway, Aldo.
He said Aldo talked into a McDonald's.
Yeah, Aldo. Tell the truth,
Man.
Aldo. You're eating a Big Mac. You're eating a Big Mac.
No, you know what? The Mac rib, man. That's what I used to get. Fucking
Oh,
Mac rib.
I had one of those one time. They didn't do it for me. I was for me it was always just a Big Mac or just the plain old cheeseburgers, man, with those side of nuggets.
That's funny.
That was it. That was the way to go with that, man. And then a lot of times I'd throw in that vanilla milkshake.
Oh
That was
shit.
a good one too. We washed that down with that vanilla milkshake, and you were guaranteed to want to throw up. But it was delicious going down for sure.
But good sleep after that.
Oh, no doubt, no doubt.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm on the blank screen. I apologize. I see myself over here. I'm like, man, I look kind of handsome on that picture, but you guys don't see that. Hey, God bless you guys, man. Thank you so much for kicking it with us, man.
All right, my brother. I appreciate you being here. Happy Father's Day to you.
Oh yes, sir.
Always appreciate you popping in. Everybody in the chat tonight, I appreciate everybody being here. Frankie with the wrench, Game Bros Gusto, Old School, Jahendra, everybody else that was here. Appreciate everybody. Make sure you get your reps in. Stay healthy. Stay safe. Happy Father's Day to all the good fathers out there. And Aldo and I are going to catch you in the next one. Thanks,
Yeah,
guys.
guys. Tomorrow the show GFTS 10 a.m. Eastern on my bros Game Bros
Yes.
channel. God bless everybody. Thank you. Happy Father's Day.
Good night, guys.
Good night, guys. Thank you. God bless you.